Good morning and happy Friday to the Ungoverned of Captain Screw, the LFA family, McGroin Nation. We're coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee, honorable.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Happy Friday. We are finally there on the eve of what is going to be a very interesting winter storm that continues to trend warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer as the new guidance comes in. It's going to be a very, as the storm grows and becomes stronger, all that warm air that's going to be coming off the Gulf of America is going to be flooding in the upper levels and into the lower levels in the surface level of the atmosphere. You will see mixing even, I believe, in the I-95 corridor. We'll get to that maybe a little bit later when we do a little weather, final little update. There is a serious ice threat in just about every part of where this storm is going to be impacting, unless you're inland in New England, that area, or you're north and west of New York City. You know, if you're north and west of Philadelphia, right, north and west of that I-95 corridor, probably not going to see much mixing. But for those southern states, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, a lot of ice potentially headed your way. For Middle Tennessee, we may luck out because of where the low is tracking and how much warm air is going to come in. A lot of the heaviest precipitation with this storm may fall as plain rain, which obviously can freeze after the fact, but until that flash freeze comes, a lot of it can drain, et cetera, et cetera. Do not sleep on this system, and hopefully everybody is prepared, because it is definitely shaping up to be. I'm not going to throw the word historic around, although it could be historic. It's a massive, massive system and impacts all across the country. So everybody stay safe and be smart during a system like this. Because the temperatures after the system, and think, if you do lose power, you're going to be dealing with temperatures in the single digits for a couple days, and then, maybe a little bit of a warm up. But we are on the eve of this weather, and it's certainly, I hope we don't lose power, but I've been hearing that, there's a pretty decent chance that this area of Tennessee is going to experience widespread power outages. So we hope not. But anybody who's in that threat zone, please, 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 please be safe and stay warm and stay dry. That's the most important thing. If you're in the cold, you do not want to get wet, right? Because that water, if you're wet, whether you're sweating or you're not, if you get wet, that water is going to take body heat away from you real quick. So be safe, stay warm, and stay dry.
Bring your pets inside.
And bring your pets inside, especially if it's going to be, when you get to those single digits, you don't want them out there. So bring your pets inside. You want to drip your faucets, all those things. There's a lot of those tips floating around online. Generally pretty good. The main crux of the show today we're going to be talking about is this new media narrative that ICE allegedly detained a 5-year-old child yesterday. They were out there screaming, and ICE has detained children. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh, there's definitely more to this story. There's definitely more to this story. And they tried this earlier in the year. Do you remember? There was that fake news hoax that went around earlier this year where they said ICE deported a child, when that's not what happened. The mother got deported because the mother was illegal, and the mother chose to take the child with her instead of leaving the child with the father here in the United States. Remember that? They're doing essentially the exact same hoax. They're just using a little bit of a different scenario. What happened yesterday from 30,000 feet is a man was pursued and located by ICE. The man fled. He is an illegal alien. The man fled, left his 5-year-old behind, and rather than ICE just saying, all right, kid, fend for yourself, they stayed with him and kept the kids safe. So the media wants it to look like ICE is detaining a 5-year-old, which is not what happened. They essentially were involuntarily thrown into the role of babysitter because the father decided to abandon his child. In other words, ICE did the right thing, not the wrong thing. Again. So we will debunk that hoax. Obviously, a little bit of bad news yesterday on the Don Lemon front. So the Department of Justice tried to get charges brought against Don Lemon, and a judge decided, I'm not signing that warrant. I'm not signing off on those charges. So what's the next step? Can they go the route of a grand jury? Can they go to a different judge? Does that judge in Minnesota have a conflict of interest? It looks like it. It certainly looks like it. So we will have that a little bit on that as well with regards to that judge. Good news on the government shutdown front. Spending packages have passed the House of Representatives, including a spending package for the Department of Homeland Security, which is where ICE falls under, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. There was one lone Republican who voted against ICE funding. I bet you'll never guess who it was. We'll get to that in just a moment. Murders plummeted in Donald Trump's first year of his second term. Isn't that interesting? Murders have plummeted. Drug overdoses have plummeted. And we have seen millions of illegal aliens either involuntarily or voluntarily have left the country. And now you're seeing a decrease in drug overdoses. You're seeing a decrease in murders. Very interesting. Are they connected? I'd say so. Remember Mahmoud Khalil? Remember Mahmoud Khalil? That that pro-Hamas, really. Because he's not just anti-Israel. You know, it's one thing to be against Israel, right? It's one thing to be like, I just don't like Israel. I don't like their government. I don't like the relationship that we have with the United States. Fine, whatever. I don't agree with your stance, but you have the right to have that stance. It's one thing to be anti-Israel. And anti-Israel does not, in my opinion, mean anti-Semitic. You may not like the Israeli government. You may not like how they handle things. You may not like some of their policy positions. That's totally fine. It's a lot different than just hating Jews because they're Jews, which there's a lot of overlap with that in the anti-Israel, quote unquote, community, if you call it that. Mahmoud Khalil was that organizer, campus protest organizer. We say protest. They were, a lot of them, unlawful demonstrations and riots, who was pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian. And again, you could be pro-Palestinian, without being pro-Hamas, right? You can argue for the existence of a Palestinian state. Again, I may not agree with you, without arguing in favor of a terror group. Okay? For example, a lot of people who want the two-state solution, which again, look, you don't reward Hamas or the Palestinian people who, 72% of them support Hamas with their own country right now, but you could make that something that they all work towards. But this guy is pro-terror, pro-Hamas. He is being deported, finally, to Africa, North Africa. Sounds like Algeria. So we will get to all that. We also have calls in the second half at 631-527-4545. We will do a very quick weather update while we're doing those calls as well. I've got a clip from Vance. We've got a clip from John Fetterman, who's the only sane member of the Democrat Party. And remember when I said a couple of days ago that I think the administration, Homeland Security, ICE, CBP needs to lean in, not just to deportations like, yeah, we're getting them out of here, but lean into who they are removing from the country and why these people, you don't want these people in your neighborhood and why you don't want these people, roaming the streets free. Well, they've got a website. It's at DHS. Let's see what the exact address is. The exact web address is, let me see here, www.dhs.gov/wow, WOW, and that stands for worst of the worst. It's all of, and it's an extensive database that you can look up who's been deported and what charges they've been either charged with or convicted of. It's an amazing thing, an amazing tool, and a great way, again, to bring the information, which is power, to independents and say, look, they're not going after American citizens. They're not going after, people, quote unquote, in search of a better life, refugees. They're going after violent criminals. There's a lot of violent criminals that came into this country illegally, and now you have a database that you can look these things up. So I'm going to share that with you in just a little bit. Before we get to all that, I want to get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms. It is OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com. Nestled in the scenic foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains, OFP Farms is more than just a farm. It embodies a tradition of quality and care. Proudly operating since 2014, OFP Farms goats are lovingly raised, roaming open pastures and breathing fresh air, which ensures that the milk produced is of the highest standard. From their creamy goat milk soaps and moisturizers to their most nourishing tallow-based balms, each product is thoughtfully crafted with your family's well-being in mind. They are committed to sustainable farming practices, providing natural and wholesome products that you can rely on. Whether you're in search of gentle skincare solutions or simply wish to indulge in the purity of farm fresh goods, OFP Farms warmly invites you to explore the website, OFPFarms.com. OFP Farms' mission is to bring a piece of the farm into your home, nurturing your family with the finest that nature has to offer. Go to OFPFarms.com and use the code Sean, SHAWN, to get 10% off of your entire order. That is OFPFarms.com. You see the website right there. Should be on your screen, and it is OFPFarms.com. Promo code SHAWN. OFPFarms.com. Oscar Foxtrot. PapaFarms.com. OFPFarms.com. Promo code SHAWN. You see Clara from Rockholds, Kentucky just purchased a bunch of Goat Kisses lip balm. It is the best lip balm on the market. Right here. It's in my hand. I love this stuff. It is a lot better than chapstick. I call it crapstick. It's owned by Pfizer. You don't want to support Pfizer. You do want to support OFP Farms. So check it out at OFPFarms.com. That's OFPFarms.com. Promo code SHAWN for 10% off of your entire order. Next up is a word from our friends at Armra Colostrum. It's tryarmor.com/LFA TV. Tryarmor.com/LFA TV. You guys know I'm always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity and gut health, improve my fitness and metabolism, and enhance my skin and hair radiance. That is what Armra Colostrum can do for you and more. Now, colostrum itself is the first nutrition that we receive in life and contains all of the essential nutrients that our bodies need in order to thrive. Colostrum can help reactivate your hair growth and help your skin glow, can help fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism. You can combat bloating and feel lighter. Probiotics, they only address one part of the 4-part gut wall, right? And that's not enough. Most probiotics on the market are dead by the time they reach your gut anyway. Armra Colostrum is the complete opposite. Armra Colostrum is not dead before it reaches your gut. Armra Colostrum addresses all 4 parts of that gut wall system, naturally fortifies your entire gut wall system, optimizes your microbiome, and strengthens the gut wall architecture, which guards against irritants that can trigger symptoms like bloating and constipation. You can also fuel your fitness performance and recovery with colostrum as well. Check it out at tryarmor.com, tryarmor.com/LFA TV, tryarmor.com/Lima Foxtrot Alpha Tango Victor. It's tryarmor.com/LFA TV, tryarmor.com/Lima Foxtrot Alpha Tango Victor for a sweet discount off of your first order at tryarmor.com/LFA TV. Let's get into this hoax. The media ran with a hoax yesterday that ICE detained the child. This is a story on Breitbart about this whole situation. ICE officers protected a single young child after the illegal immigrant father was arrested, but establishment media outlets are claiming the sheltered child was, quote unquote, detained. NPR had a headline that says, ICE detains 5-year-old Minnesota boy. School leader says agents used him as bait. And by the way, this headline is still up. It's still up. Minnesota Public Radio. Look at this. Look at this. Still up there. Still up there. Unbelievable. But it is very believable because the media is, it's just a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of slop. The detained term suggests to readers that the child was arrested, partly because the two terms are often used interchangeably by media outlets. The media blowup comes as ICE officials are enforcing the nation's immigration laws by arresting many illegal immigrants, including many who have been ordered home by a federal judge. Some of the migrants have children, partly because President Joe Biden's deputies minimized arrests, ensuring that ICE officers must guard the children until they can be handed over to the other parent or relative. Department of Homeland Security responded on X. On January 20th, ICE conducted a targeted operation to arrest Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, and an illegal alien from Ecuador who was released into the United States by the Biden administration. As agents approached the driver, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias fled on foot, abandoning his child. For the child's safety, one of our ICE officers remained with the child while the other officers apprehended Conejo Arias. Parents are asked if they want to be removed with their children, or ICE will place the child with a safe person that the parent designates. This is consistent with past administration's immigration enforcement. Parents can take control of their departure and receive a free flight and $2,600 with the CBP Home app. By using the CBP Home app, illegal aliens reserve the chance to come back to the United States the right and legal way. ICE did not detain a child. And I want to play for you J.D. Vance, who I believe is going to be our next president, going on about how the media is really demonizing and vilifying and painting ICE in such a negative light. And it's causing problems, and it's putting these agents at risk. You do have a segment of the population today, right now, who believe that ICE detained a kid. It didn't happen. Look, there are things that happen, and then there are things that didn't happen. And I know, like, the media can give you this idea that, hey, this is what went on, and here's a picture, and, like, you think it went on. It's not. Like, this is something that is simply not true. It's just not true. ICE did not detain a 5-year-old child. Period. I don't care how many times you want to say it. I don't care how hard you think it. I don't care what pictures you get from the mainstream media. ICE did not detain a 5-year-old child. It didn't happen. You could scream it all day long under the sun. You could yell it off the top of your roof. You could go tell your friends. Just because you say it a number of times, just because you think something happened, does not mean it happened. This is what the media does, though. They pump this information into the soft heads of the electorate and convince them that things occurred when they actually didn't occur. And it's very important to get out in front of stories like this. This is not one of these things that is open to interpretation. Well, did they detain the child? Did they not detain the child? The child was abandoned by his illegal alien father. And rather than say, good luck, kid, fend for yourself, we'll let you know what happens to your dad, an ICE agent remained with the child so that child didn't get scooped up by some pedophile somewhere or some predator. Or wind up, it's cold in these places. This is in Colorado. So that child doesn't wind up, getting lost out in a very cold place in a bad situation. They did everything right, and the media looked at that and saw an opportunity and said, well, why don't we just lie here and say that ICE detained a kid? Here's J.D. Vance talking about this situation and this hoax. It is a complete joke that they're trying to push this on the American people. And Vance handled this question from a hack reporter like a champ. Watch.
Here is alleging ICE agents detaining a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE or harassed by ICE in the last 6 weeks. Are you proud of how your administration is conducting this immigration crackdown here in Minnesota right now?
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh, my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America if the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, you know, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second, we don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all, but if we had a little cooperation from local and from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way.
Vance raises a very interesting point. Maybe if you had cooperation between local law enforcement and federal law enforcement and state law enforcement, instead of this pseudo, standoff and showdown and almost civil war, like we've played a bunch of times, that Minneapolis police chief urging residents to call 911 on ICE. And then Jacob Frey coming out going, residents are asking our police to fight ICE. Well, because the police chief gave that order at a press conference in early to mid-December. Maybe if all law enforcement was focused on enforcing the law instead of enforcing left-wing woke ideologies and policies, maybe you would have less chaos. Maybe if the people who constantly over the last 5 years screamed, nobody is above the law, maybe if those people actually meant that and understood that there are laws that need to be followed and understood that if you do come into this country illegally, you are violating a law right off the bat, and you don't have a right to stay here, and that's all ICE is doing, maybe at that point you won't have this much resistance, you won't have this quote-unquote chaos. There's always more to the story, right? There's always more to the story than what the media is telling you. When the media said that ICE killed an American citizen, they didn't tell you why. They didn't want to tell you why. It was because Renee Good tried to run over an ICE agent. When the mainstream media wants to tell you that ICE is detaining American citizens, they're not telling you that the American citizens that ICE is detaining are taking swings at them, are throwing things at them, are threatening them physically, not just with mean words, are obstructing them, which is a federal crime. 18 U.S. Code Section 111. When the mainstream media wants to tell you that ICE detained a 5-year-old, they're not telling you that ICE detained the 5-year-old's father who abandoned the 5-year-old, and ICE went and stayed with the 5-year-old so the 5-year-old didn't freeze to death. So the 5-year-old didn't wander off somewhere. So the 5-year-old wasn't kidnapped and forced into human trafficking and some sort of sex slavery, which happens. They never tell you the whole story. Ever. Ever. What is it that Bongino said about the mainstream media and the left? They tell you a story, not the story. That's what's going on. They're telling you a story. They're making up details of that story and then passing it along, broadcasting it, disseminating it as if it's the truth. It's not the truth. And again, the reason they're doing this is to influence the narrative. It's to steer this narrative. Well, we've got to steer it back. The good news is we don't have to make things up to steer the narrative back. The truth is on our side. The truth is on our side. ICE did not detain a child. ICE did not wrongfully kill an American citizen. ICE is not wrongfully detaining American citizens. ICE is doing their job and dealing with the resistance that the left is throwing at them. And this is not legal First Amendment protected resistance in these cases. This is unlawful demonstration, unlawful impediments, unlawful obstruction. And when ICE a law enforcement agency is dealing with people behaving in an unlawful way, yes, they're going to make arrests. If their lives are threatened, yes, they're going to defend themselves with necessary force. And if a child is abandoned, yes, the ICE agents are going to make sure that child doesn't wander off somewhere in the middle of the dead of winter in Colorado and freeze to death or wind up getting scooped up by somebody who has no legal custody of that child. They're just doing their jobs. The mainstream media wants to vilify them and make them look like the worst people imaginable. And they wouldn't have to do that if what ICE was doing wasn't effective. When do they scream and lash out the hardest? When you're over the target. ICE is over the target. And it is more important now than ever to stand with them. Stand with them while they're being absolutely demonized, vilified, slandered, defamed, threatened, and put in a very tough position. Here's the only sane member of the Democrat Party, John Fetterman, basically saying, I don't get this. ICE is just doing their job. Watch.
Absolutely unacceptable, terrible, awful. ICE agents are just doing their job, and I fully support that. And for me, and people in my party might, want to abolish it or treat them as criminals or anything that's inappropriate and outrageous. ICE performs an important job for our nation.
It's one thing for John Fetterman to kind of wander off the Democrat, reservation here, and say that he stands with Israel, or says that he wants to strengthen the border. It's another thing now. The number one item that the Democrats have pushed back on the hardest are the mass deportations. And ICE is carrying out the mass deportations. For John Fetterman to take that stance, and again, you look at his voting record and he votes with the Democrats most of the time because he is a Democrat. He is a Democrat. But at least he's using his head. At least he's using his head. Somebody is asking if the kid's father had a criminal record. That I don't know. I don't see any of that information. But we may be able to, why don't we go ahead and use the worst of the worst app or worst of the worst website. This is it. DHS.gov/wow. WOW, worst of the worst. This is this website. It's a database. Take a look at this. Okay. Let's see. Enter search terms. I guess, can we put in a name? You see all these people. Look at this. Watch. What if we put in, let's put in homicide. Let's see what happens. Homicide, and we hit search, and we will see what happens here in the search terms. It is loading. We have homicide. Look at this. Mexico, Laos, Sierra Leone. Look at all these illegals. Homicide. You could search by crime, right? I wonder if you can search by name. Let's see. What was that guy's name who was arrested yesterday? Let us see. His name was Adrian Alexander Cornejo Arias. So why don't we I wonder if we search his name, if we can get that. Cornejo, what is it? Cornejo Arias. Let's do a copy and paste, right, from this article. Cornejo Arias, right? So let's go back. Here's the Breitbart article. Let's go back to worst of the worst. DHS.com/wow. Let's put his name in and see if it pops up, if he had a criminal record or if he was convicted.
Illegal, so that's a crime.
That's a crime off the bat, right? Let's see. He's not in there. He's not in the worst, though. They're being added regularly, so he's not in there yet. But if he crossed into the border, crossed into our country illegally, then he's already a criminal, right? Then he's already a criminal. The bottom line is ICE did not detain a 5-year-old. DHS.gov/wow. DHS.gov/wow. I encourage you to use this database with your independent friends, right? Let's do this. Let's do rape. Let's search rape in the worst of the worst database. DHS.gov/wow. We searched rape in that database here. Look at this. Vietnam, an illegal alien convicted of carrying a prohibited weapon, possession of a stolen vehicle, sexual assault, possession of weapon, and rape. Here's one from Pedro Ornelas from Mexico, sexual assault and rape. Here's one from Afghanistan, kidnapping and rape. Austin, Texas. That's a name I'm not going to be able to pronounce. Mexico, rape with a weapon, robbery, kidnapping, kidnapped adult to sexually assault. This guy in Reno, Nevada. Look at this. I mean, this is an amazing. These are the people. Look at this. These are the people that the left wants to keep in the country. There's 38 pages. There are 38 pages of illegal aliens who have rape convictions. These are convicted of. These aren't charges, rape convictions. Look at this. Drug-induced rape. Bakersfield, California. Jose Reyes Gutierrez. DHS.gov. I keep saying .gov. DHS.gov/wow. That is the best tool that we can use in support of mass deportations. You know, it's one thing. It really is. It's one thing to come out and say, well, every illegal alien's a criminal and they're breaking the law and they should be deported. And that's right. You're 100% right. But I want you to think about, independence and what they need to hear in order for them to be on our side. When you tell them that there are 38 pages of convicted rapists that have been arrested by ICE all across the country, 38 pages. And that's just rape. That's not aggravated assault. That's rape. You can search any crime you want on that database, and I'm sure you'll be able to pull up all sorts of stuff. Wait, why don't we do let's do burglary, right? Let's do burglary, right? How do you spell burglary? Burglary. That's how we'll do it. Burglary, I think, with one R. Let's see if it's gonna populate. DHS.gov. Loading. There it is. Oh, here we go. So I searched burglary at DHS.gov/wow. And there are 147 pages worth of people who burglarized somebody else, convicted. Look at this. Fort Snelling, Minnesota. This is a good one. Larceny, dangerous drugs, stolen property, forgery of checks, burglary, damaging property. Fort Snelling, Minnesota. What's his name? Mo U. He's from Burma. You guys see this? 147 pages. You show that to independents and go, no, guys, they're not detaining kids. This is who they're going after. That is such a good tool. Use it. Use that tool. All right. Quick break. Word from our friends at Silent. Then I want to get to this judge's wife and the DHS funding bill. Because I bet you can guess who the lone Republican that voted no on the DHS funding bill is. This is one of the best tools that you could ever. This is the best. Oh, pedophile. Well, I don't think you could search pedophile on there, but it's I guess it's like of a child. Let's just search the word child, and when we come back. Yeah, we'll just search the word child because that'll bring up anything that has to do with children. And when we get back from the, look at that, holy. 63. All right, when we get back from this break over with Silent, we can take a look at those search results. All right, here we go. SLNT.com, SLNT.com/Sean, SHAWN. Check it out. It's SLNT.com/Sean. You know your phone is a tracking device. Between government agencies, big tech, corporate data brokers, even cyber criminals, everybody is fighting for a piece of your digital footprint, and they don't ask. They just go on and they take it. Look at that. That is why Silent exists. Silent makes Faraday gear that blocks all wireless signals, including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and near-field communications. No signal means no tracking, no remote access, and no breadcrumbs. It's the same tech that is trusted by special ops teams worldwide, used to block signals, avoid surveillance, and secure communications wherever the mission leads. And right now, it is available to you. So you can protect your family, you can protect your freedom, and you can secure your digital footprint. All you got to do is drop your phone in a Silent Faraday sleeve, and it is off the grid, completely silent and invisible to the outside world, from their backpacks to their sleeves to their crossbodies. Silent's patented technology gives you control of your privacy. Visit slnt.com/Sean, SHAWN, to save 15% and get free shipping on qualifying orders. That is silent.com, slnt.com/Sean. Protect your rights, secure your data, and stay one step ahead. Silent.com, slnt.com. Silence the chaos and go silent today. That's slnt.com/Sean, slnt.com/SHAWN. All right, you guys asked about like pedos, right?
I want to see human trafficking too.
We could check. We'll do that one right after this. Right, here you go. 63 pages involving crimes regarding children. Neglect of a child, molestation of a minor. Do you guys, is this on your screen yet? No, it's not. Here we go. Now it's on your screen. Here you go. Sexual offense against a child, fondling. Look at this. Threat of a terroristic state offenses. Simple assault, cruelty towards a child. Theft, neglect, or endangerment of a child, sexual exploitation of a child, sexual assault and cruelty towards a child, child fondling. Look at these guys. How on earth can anybody defend this? And by the way, 63 pages of that. Let's search, we will search human trafficking. Let's see. And see if that pops up anything as that loads, right? Why not? This is an amazing tool. I could do this all day. I could do this all day. We should be doing this with our independent friends. Okay. Human trafficking did not return any...
I wonder what they would call that.
Well, I'm just going to search trafficking instead, and we'll see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. I bet we're going to get a ton of drug trafficking, but human trafficking did not return any results. Although we know human trafficking is, here we go. Convicted of trafficking of a Schedule I controlled substance, drug trafficking, dangerous drugs, drug trafficking. Here we go. Guatemala, battery, human slavery or trafficking, smuggling aliens, drug trafficking, smuggling cocaine, drug trafficking again. Do you guys see this on your screen yet? No, sorry. I don't know why I keep forgetting to put this on your screen. Look, weapon trafficking, marijuana trafficking, amphetamine trafficking, 145 pages of this crap. Why don't we search the term human and see what happens? Because I want to see if there's any, maybe it's like slavery or things like that, or things of that nature. Let's see. Here it goes. It loads. Human. Here we go. Human slavery or trafficking. Human smuggling. There you go.
Apparently there's more pages if you go to that end page.
Yeah. But that one was the last page.
Okay, because someone said in the chat that they went to the last page and then there was more.
And then there was more. I wouldn't doubt it in some cases. Human slavery. Look at this, guys. Look at what you are seeing here on this screen. This is blowing my mind. Shout out Matt Brown. He doesn't like when I give him shout outs, but that's okay. He sent me this and said, you have to look at this. I said, I'm going to look. What? We're putting this on the show tomorrow. This is the best tool that is available to us in order to defend ICE. And it's easy to remember. DHS.gov/wow.
And he's saying to search your own state.
You can search your own state.
He said for us to do Tennessee.
Yeah, look at this right here. State, any. Country of origin, any. So let's we'll open it up. We'll just do the state of, let's say, Tennessee, and we'll just search. We'll search all of the arrests that were made in the state of Tennessee. Look, 39. We'll go to the last page, see if there's another last. That's it. So 39 is the last. But take a look at this. Let's go to the first page, okay? This is the state of Tennessee. DHS.gov/wow. Domestic violence, possession of weapon. Look, it gives you the country of origin. Honduras, Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, Cuba, the Congo, Cuba, Guatemala. Look at this. Domestic violence, assault, false imprisonment. That's kidnapping, by the way. Murfreesboro. How about that? Wow. Talk about hitting home. Okay? Come on. You're telling me you can't use this with your independent friends to go, you think ICE is out there just picking up American citizens? No. These are the people ICE are picking up. What a great tool. And as long as this is updated regularly, this is going to be an amazing tool come the midterms. Are we in Mo territory? I see Bad Moon pushing pretty hard.
Yes.
Okay. And the mayor's asking for hogs to be honked for justice. Mo wants hogs. Mo wants to be honked for justice. Okay. So an incredible tool. Dawn wants me to do New York. We'll just do New York. We got to do New York's gonna be nuts. You know it. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to New York. We'll go to New York. Put it on your screen. It's a fun game that we're playing, isn't it? Okay, here it is on your. It's not fun. I mean, it's because of how bad it is. But here's New York. Look at this. Let's see how many people: Venezuela, El Salvador, Honduras, Venezuela. This guy. These are all Tren de Aragua stuff, right? Look at this. Look, gang affiliation. Tren de Aragua even gives you a gang affiliation. Tren de Aragua, right? Let's see. 49 pages. Let's see if it's all 49. If it goes beyond that, when we get to page 49, I think that'll be the last one. It's loading. It takes a while to load. I bet you there's a lot of people that are on it. Yeah, there's 49 pages of this. Robbery and the sale of heroin. That guy was in the Bronx. Hey, let's see one more thing. Let's reset the search. I want to see if they have Kilmar Abrego Garcia on here. So let's just do Kilmar Abrego. Let's see if he comes up. That would be great if he was in that worst of the worst thing, right? I mean, I guess I could look up Maryland, but I'm going to look and see if he's in there. Not yet. Let's see if I can put Kilmar in there and see if it allows you to search by last names or if it allows you to search if it's a little different than that. Let's see, Kilmar. No, he's not on there. That's a shame. He's not on there. That's a shame. Oh well, he should be on there. But he's
keep this up to date better.
They got to keep it up to date.
Yeah.
It's an amazing tool.
So many more that aren't on there.
Yeah, it's an amazing tool, and I bet you there's been 600,000 deportations by ICE, and another 600,000 that are getting ready to go out. So it's going to be hard to put all 600K on there. But an amazing tool, All right, the wife of that judge who refused to sign off on Don Lemon's charges is the Assistant Attorney General in Minnesota. To Keith Ellison, who believes that the FACE Act wasn't violated. Can you say conflict of interest? Yeah, conflict of interest. What do you do now? You're probably going to have to pursue an indictment with a grand jury if you want to indict and arrest Don Lemon. I will give the Department of Justice credit, is they got a lot of those, the organizers, they got them arrested within 3 days. So, again, we said this yesterday, credit where it's due. That's not that doesn't mean everything else that has been fumbled by the Department of Justice all of a sudden is absolved and we forgive them for it. But it was good that they moved quickly on this. Department of Homeland Security funding passed the House of Representatives. Would anybody like to guess who the lone Republican was in the vote and passage of House Resolution 7147 regarding funding for the entire year for the Department of Homeland Security? 213 Republicans voted yes. 1 Republican voted no. Who do you think it is? Hey, I see a lot of people in the chat saying Massey. It's Massey. It's Massey. Well, we can do this on DHS. I'm sorry, not DHS. That was the other website. This is the congress.gov/vote/house. We can search if you go look on your screen here. We can search because there was only 1 Republican no. We can search by party. Republican. We could search no. We can go, Oh, it is Thomas Massey. Why the hell is Thomas Massey voting against ICE funding? Well, Thomas Massey says because they were putting in things that had to do with transgenders. And that's in Health and Human Services. That was a different bill. Please stop lapping up the bullcrap that guy serves you. He's lying. You want to know why I think Thomas Massey voted against funding for ICE? What's a good rule Follow the money. Do you remember earlier in the year when I said, Thomas Massie loves to talk about all this AIPAC and all this garbage, right? Follow the money. Thomas Massie accepted money from the founder of a PAC who is partnered with the Democrat Socialists of America to fight ICE. Now, if this was something that had to do with Israel and the person who voted in favor of a resolution that benefited Israel or voted against a resolution that didn't benefit Israel, and they found out that person was taking money from AIPAC, the internet would be on fire. So, bought and paid for. That's a paid shill. That's a sellout. Thomas Massie is a freaking sellout. You're taking money from a PAC that is partnering with the Democrat Socialists of America to fight ICE, and conveniently, you're voting against funding ICE. You're a sellout. Period. And I'm just applying your standards. All you people want to do, AIPAC tracker, you voted against this because it hurts Israel, and you're getting money from AIPAC. Ooh. You're a sellout. Thomas Massie is a sellout. He is not principled. That is a lie. That is a facade. That is a gimmick. He's a sellout. Listen, we only live 5 hours away from Kentucky's 4th District. I'm not ruling out a weekend in Kentucky to pair up with Ed Galrain's campaign. That would be Tom Massie's primary challenger. I'm not ruling out a weekend up there to go door knocking like crazy to get this sellout scumbag traitor out of the House of Representatives. The only Republican who didn't want to fund there were Democrats that voted for that bill. Not a lot of them. 2 of them from Long Island. Laura Gillen and Tom Suozzi, who are in New York 4 and New York 3 respectively. Because those are swing districts, and those could swing in the 2026 midterms.
Winky says she's in.
Go door knocking for a weekend in Kentucky. Maybe we'll put something together. But the one thing I'm worried about is if it gets big, they're going to say, all these people coming in from out of state. You know why? Because your bullcrap impacts me. Massie. Get him out. Just get him out. And there's all these people that are tagging Massie in my mentions. Come defend yourself. This guy's talking smack. He blocked me. He can't defend himself because he's a coward. Good luck. All right. I'm going to play a message from goldencrestmetals.com/LFA, and then we have just a few minutes for calls, but I wanted to we had to have some fun with that DHS website, didn't we? We had to.
Can we have the link for that? Because a lot of people are trying to figure it out, and it's not working for
them. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Okay.
DHS.gov/WOW. DHS.gov/wow. Oh, it's not clickable. I guess I have to do www.dhs.gov/wow. Yeah, that might work. Let me see if I click that, if it opens up. Let's see. Yep, it does. Okay, cool. All right, let's get to a word from our friends over at goldencrestmetals.com, and then we can take some calls. We'll do rapid fire edition. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
I'm sure by now you've heard that silver went up 160% last year, 2025. I bought this silver for $22 an ounce. It's now worth almost $100. And we and experts think that silver is going to get up to about $200 an ounce. Palladium and platinum were stuck at $900 an ounce for like over a year, or in that area. Now they're up over $2,000. Gold is approaching $5,000 an ounce. If you have ever thought about putting some or all of your retirement or nest egg or savings or just buying bullion in precious metals, now's the time to do it. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Go leave your name, your email, and your phone number. Schedule a time to talk to the folks over at Golden Crest Metals. Get your free gold guide today, and make sure you tune in on Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the Crest Report, where we dive deep into precious metals, why they're doing what they're doing, and where we expect them to go. It is like insider trading. Nancy Pelosi knows about that. We don't. It's just inside information. It's not even really that. It's called knowledge. Get yours today and get a part of gold, silver, palladium, and platinum and diversify your portfolio today. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Appreciate being a part of the show there, Jeremy. Thank you. And thank you to goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. 631-527-4545 if you want to call in. 631-527-4545. It is no coincidence whatsoever that with all these mass deportations, you have had a rapid drop in murders in the United States. Murders in the United States plummeted during the first year of Donald Trump's second term. How about that? Faith427 said, just tried dhs.gov/wow, and there are some very creepy people in Missouri. Very creepy people in Missouri. How about that? Creepy people. Creeples. All right, here we go. We do have a call connecting right now. It is the great Heather in Kansas City. I guess getting ready for this wild winter storm. What's up, Heather?
We are. It is right now 6 degrees, -15 wind chill.
6
right now,
degrees. Holy
outside.
cow.
It
Wow.
will get to -25 wind chill, I believe, later on.
That's wild.
I am not going anywhere this weekend, and we're supposed to have 8 to 10 inches of snow.
Yeah.
But we're used to that here, and so I'm praying for everybody who's not used to it. A real quick story. When I lived in Mexico for 2.5 years, we had to have visas to go to certain cities, so I couldn't even go in certain places. So all these people here illegally, I'm like, well, I couldn't even go to places in your cities and towns. And I was on a bus to another town one time, and I think I had my visa, but they came in with like AR-14 guns, and all that, like pointing at us. So it's your visa. So it's a serious thing in other countries. I just wish it was here more. But I just wanted to give you an update on our weather and that real quick. I just hope everyone is good with the weather this weekend.
The weather is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very dangerous and something that you do not want to take lightly. As a matter of fact, we'll do a quick update on that right now and show you one of the most recent model runs. But, yes, stay safe, stay warm out there, and hopefully your lights stay on there.
Yes, you all too. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Heather. Have a great weekend. Here is she's expecting a bunch of snow. A bunch of snow there. Here's the American model. We'll just pop this on. I'm not going to do green screen because it's going to take a little too long to set up. This is the American model GFS afternoon run. You see, again, major ice storm here in Tennessee. Major, okay? There is a change to rain for southern Tennessee and all rain for eastern Tennessee. But for middle and west Tennessee, central and west Tennessee, you do have a change back over to snow. I don't want that to happen because that is going to encase everything in ice, and we don't want that to happen. So I would like to see more of what the European model, the most accurate model in the world, which wound up being right again, what the European model is showing, and we'll show you this here. The European model is showing a similar approach, starts off with snow, goes to ice, but then a lot of rain. A lot of rain, maybe a back-end thump of ice, but no back-end snow that will encase everything. It'll flash freeze a lot. But it won't necessarily coat those power lines and whatnot if it just rains. So there you go. That's the European model. We're also in range of some of the short-range models, so we could look at the 3-kilometer NAM, which gives you a pretty interesting simulated radar. So we'll pop that up on your screen for you right now. This is the NAM, and this has come in quite warm this morning as well. You see it starts off as a major ice event down there in the south. Precip starts to fill in. You have a lot of rain, okay? A lot of rain as the storm starts to develop because a lot of that warm air is being drawn into the system. And that rain, just like the European model, basically continues throughout the duration of the storm. You may even get down in Alabama, Georgia, a severe weather threat. Right? Because you see this line of thunderstorms down there. You may get a severe weather threat with that kind of cold front setting up. So the short-range NAM and the high-res NAM showing a very similar situation. Again, now you look at the Northeast. Long Island going to get in on some of that ice as well. parts of New Jersey, central New Jersey, Philadelphia, areas of the D.C. Area, Virginia. This is the biggest impacts you're going to see from this storm. Going to be an ICE impact, and as much as we say we love ICE, that's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, not ICE in terms of weather, right? So I hope everybody stays safe. If you were to ask me what I think is going to happen, this is not, if you live in Tennessee, this is not me saying abandon your preparation, okay? That's not what I'm saying at all, right? But if you were to ask me, what do I think will happen with this storm? I think for most portions of Tennessee, south of Interstate 40, right? So for the southern, essentially 2/3 of Tennessee, I think this is going to be a mostly rain-dominated storm, meaning not an ice-dominated storm. That doesn't mean you're not going to see sleet. That doesn't mean you're not going to see freezing rain. That means to me, I think you're going to see more plain rain than is being forecast. I don't really see a world where a place like Murfreesboro, a place like, even Nashville, the way these look, sees 8 inches of snow. I don't see that. I don't see that. So that's not me saying abandon your preparation. That's me saying hope for the best, be prepared for the worst, and whatever you do, please, please, please stay dry and stay warm. I just missed somebody's call, but we have to run. We got to bounce. It was a Tennessee area code, I think, too. So I'm not sure exactly who that was. Yeah, I can't take it. We got it. Let's go. I could do this real quick. We could do this call real fast. It's got to be 15 seconds. What's going on?
What's up, Sean?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. This is Abdul calling in from Ukraine.
Abdul from Ukraine.
Thing.
Thank you so much. We got to bounce because I got to get to Jeremy Harrell. But thank you, Abdul from Ukraine. I know who you are. You're the man. Aladdin on X, doing great work, uncovering all that fraudulent funding. I know you're out overseas. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for giving us a ring this morning. I got to bounce because Jeremy's up next, but I appreciate hearing from you, brother.
Yeah, love you, brother. Yeah, good
Thanks.
jump on the Thomas Massey story.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. There's Abdul from Ukraine. Yeah, there he is. It does have that area code that I'm familiar with. Remember Abdul? Used to call him, this is Abdul, Mr. President, and we would have a good time on X Spaces. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Harrell up next. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, we will never, ever surrender. If all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a tremendous rest of your Friday. I will be on from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on 1210 WPHT this afternoon. So give me a call there, too. A little bit more content coming your way. Jeremy Harrell up next here as he takes over here on LFA TV, live from America, for the next 2 hours. Have a great rest of your day. Have a happy, healthy, and safe weekend. Good luck in the storm for everybody who is being impacted. A lot of people are being impacted. And remember, stay warm, stay dry, stay safe. We will see you on Monday. As long as we have power, we will see you on Monday. If not, we'll let you know. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. And thank you for your attention to this matter.